Sierra Leone is last of 10, facing a lot of traffic to deal with onto the far turn. Boot to Cachet has made the top clear, leads at a length against the rail. Diddy a second by ahead. Caitlin, Her Greatness, the leader. Caitlin, Her Greatness leads at a length and a half as they go to the far turn, oversubscribed. His second and a half length. She feels pretty, third to the inside, pounces a wide fourth to the turn. War Campaign draws within a half length of the lead. Now matching strides, Kings Barnes moves up behind him on the outside. Epic Ride swings wide, just a touch between horses. Door Knock has to shift lanes along with Sierra Leone. Boot to Cachet still has the lead. Didia, English Rose toward the inside. She feels pretty, has the lead in the final furlong. Kings Barnes in front. Final furlong of the Ben Ally Stakes. Boot to Cachet, 25-1 upset under Frankie Dettori. Sierra Leone comes forward for the lead and deep stretch and wins the Toyota Bluegrass. She feels pretty, a dominating performance.
Welcome in, everyone, to the Keeneland Look Ahead podcast for day 14 of 15 for the Spring Meet 2025. Chance of showers tomorrow in the afternoon, 40 to 50%. So stay loose with the conditions and keep an eye on what we might have on the 9-race card. 72 degrees, the forecasted high temperature. Again, the rain not supposed to hit until afternoon and be light rain. Again, 40 to 50% chance. So let's be optimistic. That means there's a 50 to 60% chance there'll be no showers tomorrow. And we need a little luck after today. Thank God it's Thursday. Should be the theme after today. It did not go well for yours truly. First time taking the duck. I did not have a single winner on the card today. I got a half and 49 in the nightcap with my best bet and Flavian Pratt aboard and couldn't even hold for the exacta. It was a rough kind of day like that as Athalia was going to try to bail me out in the last race and it didn't work either. So an over 8 day, not the kind of day we want to have, but I guess misery has company. Nobody hit the pick six. Carryover was already guaranteed going into the last race. In fact, most of the combinations were paying 4 of 6 today going into the nightcap. We've got a carryover in the pick six, $25,217.49 as we attack the pick six on races 4 through 9 on the program. We'll take you a look through the snapshot of the program. But today, it was tough sailing for everybody. It seemed like, favorites had a 1-for-8 performance, 3 of them completely off the board in 8 races today. Only 2 favorites out of 8 races in the exacta. They really struggled here today. Late pick 5 paid $46,000. That kind of tells you. The early pick 5 was a mere $11,000. It was tough today at Keeneland. Hopefully you had a better day than I, and hopefully you caught a big one or two along the way. Luis Saenz picked up 2 victories on the card, and that puts him ahead in the leading jockeys standings. He's got 1 more than Jose Ortiz now, who's got 16. Flavian Pratt picked up a win to 15, and Rad Ortiz was shut out, so he's still at 15. 4 jocks within 2 wins, and they're basically riding 6, 7, 8, 9 races each over the next 2 days. So we'll see how it shakes out on Thursday and Friday. In terms of the leading trainers race, a nice win today for Brendan Walsh. He now has 9 wins and has drawn even. You think about that. Brad Cox and Wesley Ward, we expect to be at the top of the standings with 9. What a meet for Brendan Walsh. He is now even with 9. And when you look at the Thursday lineup that we have coming up here tomorrow, 3 starters for Brendan Walsh, or starters in 3 different races. Brad Cox has starters in 3 different races. Just 1 starter for Wesley Ward. So if you look in those head-to-head showdowns, race number 2 on the card on Thursday, you're going to get Wesley Ward against Brad Cox in the only head-to-head between those guys going for the leading trainer title. And then in race number 7, there's a head-to-head Brendan Walsh and Brad Cox. Have a runner. No races where all 3 are in there head-to-head on the Saturday card, but you have to say advantage right now, Cox and Walsh with 3 starters on the Thursday card, Wesley Ward with just 1. But it's a 2-year-old turf sprint race, so that's Wesley Ward territory, so we'll see how it shakes out for him. Okay, we'll look to have a better day handicapping for sure. It can't get any worse, can it, than what it was today as we go from an 0-for-8 day into day 14 on the program. First time taking a duck here in 2025, and you certainly don't like that. We were about $9 in the hole for the meet coming into today, so look, you lose $18 in ground now. We're now 27 in the hole for the meet. We can still get out in the last 2 days, no question about it. It takes, 2 nice winners along the way and a couple logicals, and we can get back there. So let's get attacking this 9-race card coming up for Thursday. Again, this is the next to last day of the meet. We'll have one more podcast for you tomorrow night, 8:30 Eastern, to preview the closing day Friday card. Here's a snapshot of the action that we're going to look at for the 1 o'clock start on the 9-race Thursday program. Pick 5 will start in the opener. Race number 5 on the card is going to overlap and be a swing race in both pick 5s. So race 1 through 5, the early pick 5, races 5 through 9 will be the late pick 5. We've got the early and late pick 4 in their customary spots starting in races 2 and 6. Key plays on the card for me will come up in races 4, 6, and 8. We'll talk about those. The pick 6 carryover begins $25,000 there in the 4th race. Turf pick 3 is races 5, 7, and 9 as we wrap things up. No carryover in the Toyota Super High 5. So as we get set for this 14th day of racing at Keeneland, let's get right to race number 1. And we've got ourselves a fair price in race number 1 with the 4 here, True Class. Top pick in here for Gabby and I, 6-1 in the morning line. I've got the opener lined up 4, 6, and 5. As you see the free selections from Keeneland.com, you can download these in the Handicappers Consensus area. Nice printable feature there. If you're new to the podcast, welcome aboard. And again, you can get our handicapping information online at Keeneland.com each and every day. I'll update these selections after scratches and changes tomorrow as well. In the opener, the 4 True Class, my top pick in here for trainer John Ortiz. He's had a good meet at Keeneland, won 3 races early on. He hasn't had that many starters, so still clicking at a nice percentage. First time Lasix here, and this horse showed a little bit of speed in the debut at Turfway. That was in a synthetic race, of course, but it made the special level. It's a class drop here, and I think the horse might be able to make the lead in here. You get the aggressive front-running jockey, Luis Saez. This is a mile and a 16th, so coming out of a 6-furlong sprint and showed a little bit of pace. There's not much quality in this race, so I'm just taking the horse I think can make the lead in here, and they're going to have to come and catch her. So she's an American Freedom, stretching out for the first time. Yes, she ended up 10th in the debut, but hopefully she won't have to go as fast, and see if she can't milk her speed around the track under Saez, top pilot at the meet. So 4, 6, and 5, the way I've got it lined up. 6 also gets a top play in here for Kim and Tom. The 3 Fascinator, top choice in here for Scott. 4, 6, 5, the way I'll take race number 1. The 6 Protocol is 8-5 in the morning line. 8-5 because it's Brad Cox on the class drop. Certainly makes some sense in here. This horse does come off a debut 3rd place finish, beating 12.5 lengths in that race, though. I don't think there's any massive edge this one has over the rest of the field. I wouldn't take a short price in here, but 6 obviously could be a logical winner coming out of that 3rd in the maiden special at the fairgrounds. So no shock here if Brad Cox drops and pops. He wins a good percentage dropping into the maiden claiming ranks. But, you know, one thing about Brad Cox's percentages, if you look like his DRF stats or whatever past performances you use, Brad Cox is pretty much 27, 26% in like every situation. So when he drops maiden special to maiden claiming like this, you might think, well, his horses are going to be dominant. He has so many good horses when he drops in class like this, but he wins the same percentage, 27%, as he does overall, as he has on the year, and as he has in many other categories. So I don't think Protocol has a complete standout in this spot, but at 8-5, probably the most logical winner. But I like the 4, trying to get a little speed pop here for a hot trainer in Ortiz. You get the top jockey in Saez coming off a 2-win day. Speed, aggressive jockey should be inside by the time they hit the first turn, because the 1, 2, and 3 don't look very fast in here. So 4 will try to take them all the way on the inside under Saez. That's how we'll try to start the day. Speed did not carry particularly well today, though. If you played by horses or at least watched them or had opinions of horses on the front end, they didn't always stay. I mean, we had a couple of horses. Wesley Warden, a 2-year-old race, buckled and ended up 4th, I believe, 4.5 after breaking on top. I mean, we just, speed just didn't extend itself today. If the horses were short, they were short. We'll see how the track plays on the Thursday card. Let's go next up to race number 2. In terms of the early pick 5, I think I would try to get by with the 4 and the 6 in race number 1 if you're playing multi-race wagers. You got the speed with the 4, you got the logical player with the 6. We start the early pick 4 in race number 2. This is a 2-year-old maiden special on the turf. So this is kind of like Wesley Ward, right? I mean, it's a combination of everything he does big. Turf sprints, 2-year-olds, Keeneland in the spring. He's got the 10 in here, longshoreman, 8-5 in the morning line. Solid series of workouts, but nothing blistering there. But this is a really well-bred horse for this kind of spot. By Twirling Candy out of Lady Pauline. Of course, she's a half to Lady Aurelia. Lady Aurelia, one of the really top young horses that we saw come through Keeneland back here in 2019. Ended up going to Royal Ascot, ran there, and then was injured before potentially running in the Queen Mary. So this Lady Pauline, she could flat out run. And again, Lady Aurelia, her half is just one of the greats to run through here. And so Lady Pauline was a good early runner. She probably will produce somebody of similar ilk if the pedigree passes down. We never know that for sure. But you get Irad Ortiz, you get Wesley Ward. Not the greatest post in post 10 in here, but I'll take the shot with the 10. I love post 3, 4, and 5 in these particular kind of races with turf sprints and full fields. I think there's an advantage there, but the 3 and the 4 really don't show me anything that I can hang my hat on. And the race for the 5 earlier this meet was okay, but we don't see horses running back second time at the meet in 2-year-old races have very much success at all. Coming back on 11 days, I'm not going to take the 5 in here, Twirling Ridge. So 3, 4, and 5, I love to play those horses in these turf sprints, but I don't see it. Tom Leach is going to take a shot with the 5 in here, a Twirling Ridge. So if this one pops, then, get behind Tom. The 6 Risk is my second choice. A Jose D'Angelo trainee. This one's got set a series of workouts down in Florida at Arundel Farm. Did not get over to the races at Gulfstream Park and get to the main track. Was just training on the farm there, and then came up for a workout over the track at Keeneland. D'Angelo, really good trainer with some of these young horses like this. A pretty solid turf sprint trainer. Very good turf sprint trainer. You get Saez. So I thought the 10-6 were the 2 most logicals in here. George Weaver does really good with 2-year-olds and turf sprinters. So Tough Critic, the 8 makes a lot of sense. I think the 8 might get bet a little bit, 6-1 in the morning line. That one might drop a bit in price. Raffinado's first-time starter, Stone Street Stables, and Brad Cox. Certainly big-time connections there. Flavian Pratt rides. A lot of different ways you can go in this race, but I went to Wesley Ward. 10-6, 8, 7, 5. I mean, I could think you could go 5 deep in here, if not the 1. So this is your classic single or spread situation. If not the 10 being the 1 that you would single in here, then I think you're kind of 5 deep. And so looking at multi-race wagers, do you have other races around it narrowed down? Or do you want to kind of spread in this particular spot because you have other races narrowed down? Or if you can't narrow the other races, then I think you take Ward in this spot at 8-5 with Longshoreman and try to get through there. I think the later races might be a little more attractive. Pick 4, pick 5, and with the pick 6 carryover, you're going to maybe put more work into those races anyway if you're attacking the pick 6. I think the later races today might be the better play, but if you are playing an early pick 4 or an early pick 5, this is the classic single or spread situation. You either single the 10 or you get yourself pretty deep in here going 5 deep. Let's go to back to the snapshot as we look at the card. Race number 3 comes up next on this 9 race program. Nothing new starting in this race in terms of wagers, but we've got a field of 7 starter allowance types in here. And this is a tough group with a hot pace. So maybe you can get a horse who finishes a little bit in here. And I thought number 7, Penn Street, might get that kind of trip. This horse rallied to run second at Churchill in the fall. Came back, 1 race off the layoff, and ran a good second last time out at Oaklawn Park. Chris Hartman trains. Ben Curtis is going to ride. My top choice in here, number 7, Penn Street. Also the top pick in here by Gabby. Again, 4-1 is a fair price in the morning line. And if you look at this horse's last race, was the beaten favorite, but Rose Palace, who won that race, it was a 35,000 claimer, came back and won an overnight stakes race next time out at 21-1. So this horse took a big step up in class. Rose Palace, who won that race by 7+ against Penn Street, and came back and won an overnight stakes next out at 21-1. So that's a pretty good race that the 7 Penn Street came out of for a 35 claimer. That's why I took that one on top. Plus, there looks to be pace in here. The 1 bestseller is going to try to come out of there. Number 2, Lady Emily Catherine. If the form translates to the dirt, is going to come out of there. The 4 Classic Performers got speed. The 6 Windy Walk has speed. So there's a lot of pace in this particular race. Windy Walk, the 6, did beat Penn Street by a nose at Churchill back in the fall. But Windy Walk is a horse who hasn't raced since January, doesn't have the benefit of a start like Penn Street does, and is an all or nothing type. If you look at the 6 Windy Walk, 15 starts, 7 wins, which is great, 7 for 15, but no seconds and 1 third place finish. You either wire or you don't, it seems like, with Windy Walk. And if I didn't take the horse on top, I wasn't going to use her second or third. So I've got it 7, 1, and 3 the way I've got it lined up. The 3 Clint's Muse is going to come from well off the pace. Again, I think this race sets up for a closer. Give me the 7 Penn Street, and the way the track played today, where speed just didn't carry like a conveyor belt. I feel a little bit better about this pick after watching the races today. So 7-1-3 for me in here. And, this might be a spot where you would consider singling, but I think the one bestseller you definitely want to include in here. Bestseller might be the best of the speed. Rudy Brisset is a trainer who's had some success here in week 4 of the meet in recent years. He's won 4 times during the last week of the meet over the last 4 years. So he's getting a win on average every year in the final couple days of the meet, saving some horses with conditions or, keeping this horse who had the starter allowance condition and fits the starter allowance pretty nicely. Dropped in once for 25,000, ran a good second. I could see the one bestseller being very effective in here. I typically don't like to go too deep unless I'm lined up like this with a speed horse and a closer. Again, I've said this before on the podcast, but it's worth reiterating. Going too deep in a multi-race wager doubles the price of your ticket. But also, if you go too deep in a race, you don't want horses with the same running style, because if it doesn't set up for one, it's not going to set up for the other. So you want divergent running styles. If you are going to make the leap and double the cost of your ticket, you should have the race covered with a speed horse and a come from behind horse, I think, is the best way to get bang for your buck. So bestseller, the 1 is going to be among the pace players, number 7, Penn Street from off the pace. I would go too deep in this particular spot. I like the 7. This is going to be a horse at 4-1 in the morning line that I wouldn't mind taking a shot at. I almost put this horse on my list of key plays in the day, but there were a few others that I like just a little bit more, including coming up next in race number 4. So let's get going in race number 4 with the start of the $25,000 carryover pick 6. A field of 11 in this particular spot. Number 1, River Ridge is going to be one of my first key plays on the card. Race number 4, race number 6, and race number 8 are my designated 3 key plays on the program. This is a non-winners of 2 lifetime race, and I think this horse's win for 20,000 maiden claiming at Keeneland back last year during the fall meets, the best maiden win on paper in this particular group. So River Ridge has that going for him, and the form is soiled from the last start because they tried the turf. Paul McGee's had a really good year this year, spotting his horses judiciously, winning at a nice percentage. He's already got a win at this meet, and River Ridge is a horse who last time out tried the turf and it did not go well at all. But if you look at the prior form on the dirt, this horse has run pretty well. They go to the blinkers. The horse used to run with blinkers, so it's back to blinkers on. Wore the blinkers when breaking the maiden here at Keeneland in the fall. I like River Ridge on the inside. I think with the blinkers on and coming out of that turf race, this horse won't be right up on the pace, but won't be too far under CJ Hernandez. I think this horse will be in a race that there's not much pace. I mean, you look at the races and the running styles of these horses. There are a lot of horses that are just plotters that want to come from far off of it. Who's the confirmed speed in here? It's got to be the 6, Gerald Ray Dapple Gray, a 3-year-old taking on older horses, but coming out of the sprint ranks at Turfway, probably goes to the front in here. There is not much pace in here at all. So River Ridge, when with the blinkers and winning last year, going 6 furlongs at Keeneland, this horse might be sitting second and just get a dream trip. I really like River Ridge in this particular spot. The 2, Give Me Liberty, might be up closer to the pace. Last time out at Gulfstream, caught a pretty slow pace for a 1-turn mile there at Gulfstream. It was up close to it. It's Ken Ramsey, Nolan Ramsey, and this horse arguably has one of the better maiden wins at 25,000 at Gulfstream. 1, 2, and 10, the way I line them up in race number 4. But key play in here for me, River Ridge. I think this is a potential single, and I'm going all in on this Paul McGee trainee in this particular spot. Give me the 1 over the 210, and if you're looking to play some tries and supers, 1 with 210 with all. 1 with all with 210 might be a good way to attack in this particular spot. You see the other handicappers here. River Ridge, top choice for Gabby. Give Me Liberty, top pick in here for the other handicappers. So we got the full house, deuces over aces, 3 of them going for the 2, Give Me Liberty. And then Gabby and I going for the 1, River Ridge. But if we can get B. Wayne, a deep closer in there, maybe to get a piece of it, a horse who's 10-1 in the morning line for an Alexis Clare barn that does good work here at Keeneland, has a high percentage of getting horses in the money with limited starters here at Keeneland over the years. B. Wayne could help juice up the price on those exotics. So get started with the pick 6 in here with number 1, River Ridge. If you're going to play the pick 6 and your ticket doesn't get too large, maybe 1 and 2 to start here. But I feel good about number 1, River Ridge And I wouldn't mind the particular single in this particular spot. Let's go next to race number 5. It's a mile and a half on the turf. First level allowance runners here. Late in the meet, we get a lot of these extended distance races. We talked about it the other day. Over the last 4 years, 25% of the races over closing weeks have been at a mile and an eighth or longer, regardless whether it was on the dirt or the turf. We get another turf marathon allowance race here in race number 5. It's going to start the late pick 5. It's the swing race in the early and late pick 5. It is also first leg of the Keeneland Turf Pick 3 on races 5, 7, and 9. I went with number 3 in here, Steadfast Resolve, coming out of the Gulfstream races. You know, in these turf allowances, I'm trying to lean more towards Gulfstream horses historically. George Weaver trains this one. Irad Ortiz aboard, coming off a second off the layoff type situation, ran in November in Aqueduct, and then came out once in February at Gulfstream. Good third place finish, but hasn't run since, has been gelded since that race in February. And you look at it, and you're looking at about 2.5 months since being gelded, and that's the kind of time you want. When a horse gets gelded, you want to see some time between the time they were gelded until they run back again the next time. You don't want it to be right away, because I don't think you're going to see a whole lot of difference in the horse. It's more of a mental and behavioral thing after the physical change. And so I think the horses need a little bit more time. And in our night school fan ed program, I know we've had trainers tell us in the past that you got to give your horses a little bit of time after you geld them. So I think Steadfast Resolve comes back, probably a more focused runner in here. And this horse has already won 2 times. This is a first level allowance race, but this horse won a maiden claimer, so that doesn't count against you in the allowance conditions in here. So a lot of these horses are non-winners of 2 lifetime, and this is a horse who's already won twice in 7 starts. Give me the 10 in here. Steadfast Resolve is a top choice, but I think there's some other good options, not a single type runner in here. Number 2, My Boy Tony, deserves a lot of attention. This is a horse, though, that runs second and third a lot. So in terms of playing in a pick 6, do you want to put My Boy Tony on top? Maybe still even. I know the horse has been more of a bridesmaid than than getting to the altar, but post positions in the last couple have just been awful. Now gets all the way into the 2 posts and gets back to Saez. I think this horse could win in this particular spot. I would certainly use My Boy Tony on top as well, but even though the horse has a propensity for those second place finishes. The 8 British Isles, kind of similar, 1 for 16 lifetime, but a lot of seconds and thirds. Beaten favorite last time out earlier in the meet, runs back second time for trainer Richie Baltus, who is back winning at a fair percentage, not quite as high as he was before his suspension, but his horses are running pretty well in Southern California again. British Isles should fit well in this particular spot. And, back on short rest, I thought the horse would fit better the first time running here at the meet, but that was early in the meet when the turf course had a lot of water to it. Remember all the rain. This is one of the first days, maybe the first day back that we had turf racing there on the 9th, and had some traffic trouble in there. So can't dismiss the 8 in here, British Isles. Also the 5 Fort Thomas, I think one worth considering, comes from absolutely out of the clouds. Only 1 for 12. So that's kind of the problem in this race, right? There's a lot of horses in this race that don't have particularly strong win-end records, but tend to get in the mix a lot. 1 for 12 for Fort Thomas, 6 times second or third. That's why I'm on the 10 Steadfast Resolve in here. 2 for 7, and has won 2 of the last 3 in a race where nobody kind of wants to win. But Steadfast Resolve doesn't have a great post position in here at a mile and a half, 3 turns. We're going to see if the horse can run that far. The mile and 3/8 race was a pretty decent effort at Gulfstream last time, but did flatten out a little bit through the lane. So I don't have confidence in singling here, but boy, I tell you, the horses I'm using underneath, I don't like a whole lot either. My Boy Tony, the 2, top choice in here for 3 of the 5 handicappers. Fort Thomas, the other one I'm looking at, top choice for Gabby. So 10, 2, 8, and 5. I do not want to go any less than 4 deep in this particular spot. But if you just had to pick one in here, then I would go with Steadfast Resolve. And I'm surprised I'm the only one who's got Steadfast Resolve in the top spot, much less in the top 2. Tom's also got that one picked in there third. So I'm going to get a little coverage there in race number 5. Hopefully we can get the pick 6 started with just River Ridge in the 4th. And we still got some key plays left on the card here to come in upcoming races, including the next on the card. So hopefully we can narrow things down a little bit more as we progress through this pick 6. Race number 4 starts the late pick 4. Race number 6, I should say, starts the late pick 4. Second key play on the card for me in this one. This is a first-time starter, but I've just seen too many of these Vekoma runners Horses by Vacoma just run lights out over this racetrack. Me and Molly McGee, the 4 in here, a first-time starter for trainer Peter Urton, training up a storm in the morning, running fast over this track, and these Vacomas are just absolutely lights out. I'm not in love with anybody else in this particular spot who has already run, so you're kind of measuring first-time starters against first-time starters. Give me the Vacoma, give me the good workouts. Urton's a trainer who's had a good start to the meet here, high percentage guy, whether he's in California or Kentucky, always in that 18, 20, 22% kind of range, and he gets Flavian Pratt to ride here in the debut. Urton with Pratt, 38% teaming up. They don't team up that often, even though they're Kentucky and California background. When they do, they're very successful. Love the 4 in here. Me and Molly McGee, 6-1 in the morning line. My second key play on the program. Let's see how the other handicappers have race number 6 lining up here with these lightly raced 3-year-old fillies in this particular contest. Me and Molly McGee, my top choice, gets a couple third place tabs in here from Kim and Tom, but nobody else taking the horse in the top 2. Maybe we can get that 6-1. We'll see how live this one may be on the tote board. The 5 Magical Day is Brendan Walsh trying to win this training title, coming off a second place finish behind Decadent. Decadent came back at Oaklawn for trainer Kenny McPeak and won an allowance race out of that race at Gulfstream. So shipped from Gulfstream to Oaklawn and is now 2 for 2 lifetime. Decadent, the filly who beat Magical Day last time out. So that's the logical runner of those who have run. The 5 in here certainly would be no surprise. A 7-2 in the morning line. Beaten favorite, though, at even money last out. How low will the price go? It probably depends on how much they bet the first-time starters in here. There are some really nice pedigrees in this race. We talked about the Vacoma with the 4. The 6, Princess Proud, is by Into Mischief out of Eulalie, a really nice race mare there. Bill Mott trains that first-time starter. And the 12, See You Wouldn't Want to Be Ya, is by Into Mischief out of Selcourt. Really fast filly. Pardon me, I was holding back a sneeze there. The 12, See You Wouldn't Want to Be Ya, again, by Into Mischief out of Selcourt. She was an exceptionally fast filly on the West Coast. If Brian Lynch has this one ready to go first out of the box, he's not necessarily a first-time starter trainer, but she has the pedigree to be any kind, and she cost a big buck at the sales in 2023. So See You Wouldn't Want to Be Ya, the 12 to consider in here. The 9, Velvet Devils, run twice, second both in those starts at the fairgrounds for Mike Tomlinson. Tomlinson had a winner on the card today. But Velvet Devil comes out of a race against Velvet Vortex, and Velvet Vortex came back here at a short price at 6-5 last week or opening week and ran a very disappointing 4th. That race was fast in 109 and change, but the way Velvet Vortex ran on the comeback, I don't know if that race was as good as maybe it looks on paper. So I respect the 9 in here, and I respect the 5 who have already run, but I'm willing to try to beat both of them. We saw the winner of the 9's race come back and get beat at a short price. We've seen the 5 run already at even money and get beat. I don't think you need to take a short price. 4, 5, and 9, I'm going to try to get them with the first-time starter. In terms of the pick 6, though, this is a tough call to single here with a first-timer, and when there are other first-timers we're not quite sure about. I think you probably want to get 3 deep in this race. Use the 4 as the top of the first-time starters. Certainly use the 5, 9. I think the 12 is one you might want to work in there if you can, and if you look, Scott's got the 12 in his mix as well, so interesting group in here in race number 6, but give me and Molly McGee, another Vacoma. This is another one. If you don't narrow the field down, you can start adding horses and adding horses and adding horses, and it starts to build up. So that's a look at race number 6 as we turn the page here and head towards the 7th. 7th race on the card starts our second leg of the Keeneland Turf Pick 3. Good options I've gotten written at the top of my past performances here. A field of 12 with 4 also eligibles. Second level allowance race in here, going a mile and a 16th on the turf. Really good looking field in here. This could be disguised as a stakes race and nobody would shake a stick at that. This is a really good group. Race number 7, as far as the selections go across the way, the 11 Intellect, my second choice, is top pick by a couple of the handicappers in here. Intellect at 7-2 in the morning line, probably goes favored off that French form. Chad Brown trains this filly, Flavian Pratt, or this gelding, I should say. Flavian Pratt will take them out for the first time. Didn't run at the highest levels in France, but did run a big time form rating last seen. Maybe likes it a little bit better soft. I think we'll probably, even with, the threat of some showers tomorrow. I think the turf course certainly is going to be closer to firm than soft. So we'll see how Intellect gets over the top of the ground. First start in the U.S., Chad Brown does decently with these types, 38% from 16 starters, according to DRF in recent years with first-time U.S. runners. So Intellect, the 11, certainly you have to respect. I took the 8 in here for a little bit of a price. It's Brendan Walsh. Again, he's had such a great meet with a horse coming off the Gulfstream races. I think he's the value play in this particular spot. This is a horse who won the debut, so we know the horse can run fresh. Won last time out at Gulfstream. That was in December, and now comes back fresh again. 4 starts, has never run a bad one. 3rd in the Hawthorne Derby in his 2nd career start. Oscar season, runs fresh, gives you good value. Brendan Walsh is doing everything right, so why not take a shot at a price in a race where there are good options to choose from? If you take the Brown horse, you're probably going to get an underlay, but Brown won today with the turfer, just rocketed home down the stretch. Maybe he'll have Intellect in similar fine fettle on the Thursday card. Royal Majesty, the 12, worth a look in here as well. Difficult post for the 11 and the 12, not telling you anything new there, but Royal Majesty, the 12, did win here at Keeneland last spring, so you know that this colt by Frankel can handle the footing. Has 1 start this year at Gulfstream at a mile. That was a little shorter than his best, probably. Stretches out a little bit more now to the mile and a 16th, and probably second off the layoff, getting a little more ground for Bill Mott would certainly be one that you want to consider. 8, 11, and 12, the way I've got it. The 6, El Razim. The 9, Hold My Bourbon. Also have top picks in here for Gabby and Scott. Again, this is a race with good options. El Razim is a horse who ran second over this course last year in April for Todd Pletcher. Hasn't run since the Jockey Club Derby. Faced mostly 3-year-olds last year. Did get a couple 3-and-up races and was successful in those at Saratoga. You know, there's nothing stopping El Razim from coming back and being able to run. But this horse took 4 or 5 races in the form cycle to get going in the past. I'm not so sure. First time out in the career debut, ran 8th. First time off the layoff, ran 4th at Gulfstream. So 2 races off of just training. El Razim hasn't finished in the money. So that's why I went against this horse in my top 3, but certainly respect for that form, running 3rd in the Jockey Club Derby last year. The other one that's picked on top in this race, what did we say, was the 9, Hold My Bourbon. Scott's got a nice price there at 15-1. Doug Cowan's the trainer. This horse showed speed at Turfway last time. Hasn't been on the grass going long. The only turf start was a sprint at Churchill, but maybe with Hold My Bourbon, you're just trying to get to the front under Brian Hernandez and see how far you can take him. In terms of pace and speed in this race, doesn't look overly quick. So Hold My Bourbon might be able to get out there. Speed did not hold for anything on the turf today. I can tell you that. I thought we were long gone in the last race on the card when Pratt threw a 49 up there and was 2 lengths in front going down the back stretch on the turf in that mile when we ended up 3rd. Let's move to race number 8 next up here on the Thursday program. 8th races are a Lowndes co-feature here, 6 furlongs on the main track. We've got a field of 8 in this particular spot, some 3-year-olds in here, a couple Triple Crown nominees, but nobody that's headed to the stakes ranks immediately after this spot, but maybe we'll see a breakthrough performance by one of the runners in this race of potential up-and-comer types. CK Wonder, top choice in here for me at 8-1 in the morning line. Another Vekoma. You know these Vekomas are running their eyeballs out at Keeneland. You're getting 8-1 in the morning line. It's Dale Romans, who's had a pretty decent meet with not that many starters. Tom's also got CK Wonder picked on top. We're the only 2 to mention this one, so maybe at 8-1 we can get a fair price. A winner over the track that never hurts. So not only are you, hey, you're by Vekoma, you're supposed to like it at Keeneland. This horse did like it at Keeneland last year, winning by 4 lengths in the fall meet. Last 2 starts for this horse, yes, got beat 11 and 8 lengths, but got beat by Disco Time 2 starts back at Churchill. That horse went on to win the Lecomte Stakes. Got beat by Prater last time. We just saw that horse back in the Lexington a week or so ago here at Keeneland. Definitely a stakes caliber runner for Chad Brown. CK Wonder's taken on some good competition in recent starts. I think this one bounces back over the track here, and it's my 3rd key play on the card, 8-1 in the morning line. Give us CK Wonder at that price all day. The 5, Ancient World, is 6-5 in the morning line. Only one handicapper taking Ancient World on top. I used Ancient World second. Tom's got, or Gabby's got that one second. Kim's got that one second. You can kind of see a little theme developing. And why are we against the horse who's 6-5 in the morning line? because you just completely blew the start and were 14 lengths back at Fairgrounds before getting in gear and rallying. It's a wow kind of performance for an even money shot, but you don't leave yourself a whole lot of margin for error when you drop back that far in the one career start. Now, we also saw the horse who ran third in that race, Motel Patel, come back at Aqua even money. You don't see that very often. So my thought is there wasn't a whole lot in that race down at the Fairgrounds when this horse was bet to even money and rallied. Maybe he's something special. We'll find out. Micropoli with Joe Sharp. It's not a combination we're used to seeing. This is a into mischief 525,000. So maybe that's why they took the money there more so than Sharp. But Ancient World, to me, you got to prove it to me again at 6-5. I'm not willing to take that. Playing the pick 6, I wouldn't get beat by that horse. I don't think the horse has to lose this race, but I don't think you want to take 6-5. That's the point. So you're trying to find value, and that's why it's a key play, because you have a favorite that you think could be vulnerable at a short price. That gives you inflated odds on everybody else in the race and the one that you particularly like. And I do like CK Wonder, a horse for course here. So 2, 5, 1, and 3, the way I've got them lined up here in this particular spot. I think you might get some depth in this race. You certainly want to use the 2 and the 5 if you're playing multi-race wagers. I think the 1 fits just nicely. A horse who at Kentucky Downs last year ran second to Tiztastic, who's headed to the Kentucky Derby and has gone on to win the Louisiana Derby. Could be Rail Speed, even coming out of those turf sprints. Practical Jokes, love this course here at Keeneland. So I think you could use the 1, and I think the 3, UW, coming off a Churchill win last June, gets blinkers on. John Ortiz, first big meet for him at Keeneland in a while with 3 victories. I'll be surprised if the 3 wins, but the works are sharp. This horse has got blinkers on. I think they're going to sizzle out of the gate in this race. I think the 1 and the 3, there's a lot of pace in here. So give me the 2, CK Wonder. We'll use the 5 with respect, but not at that price in terms of betting intra-race. So good luck getting through that one in the pick 6. Maybe a lot of folks are singling because they see the 6-5 in the morning line, and will just take Ancient World as their single in the pick 6. So if you can beat this horse in the pick 6, up goes the payoff, and that's what you're looking for in separating yourself from the public. Let's go to the 9th and final race on the card, the Toyota Super High 5 races here. It's also the final leg of the Keeneland Turf Pick 3. Luis Saez has owned the last race on the card lately, so it just takes Luis Saez in the nightcap, and you're in pretty good shape. He's got he's got Celebrity Row in here, my second choice, Brian Lynch trainee, who should be right up on or near the pace. Celebrity Row in here is a horse who is coming in fresh off since last May and typically runs forward in his races, or in her races. You would expect her to be up near the pace and be a factor in this. I went with the 12. Take note of this, 10-1 in the morning line. This is a horse who's really well bred by Go Sapper out of Dynera, a good Dynaformer mare. Cost $550,000. Had a good race over this track. Second beat in the neck at 11-1 here during the fall meet. Came back 1 shot so far this year at Fairgrounds. Didn't show much that day, but had a lot of trouble into the first turn. And sometimes when things don't go right on the first turn, it's just pack it up time and come back another day. Hopefully that's what happened with Take Note of This. Steve Asmussen hasn't had a great meet at Keeneland, but he's had decent numbers. So we'll see if he can get this one with Jose Ortiz over the top. I've got Take Note of This, but not a strong conviction in here. I think the 14 is a horse you definitely want to watch. No Sleep Till Brooklyn. Beastie Boys fans will definitely be after that one. If you don't listen to the Beastie Boys, you'll still like this horse based on the form. It was a good third at Gulfstream last time when trying the turf for the first time against Serendipity, who was a nice winner that day. Brian Lynch, Irada Ortiz. If the 14 gets into the race, No Sleep Till Brooklyn definitely gets into your mix. But I think you got to use the 12 in here at a price. You got to use the 7 in here as Saez and a horse who's going to be right up into the mix. The 5, Houston Rose, is one that probably gets bet the favoritism in here. 7-2 in the morning line. Just missed by a nose at Santa Anita, but has gone all 1-turn races. Hasn't gone 2 turns before. Stretches out to the mile, but there's no reason why the pedigree wouldn't go for a mile race. I think the 5 is certainly usable in this particular spot. The 6, Spying, is Brendan Walsh. Flavian Pratt didn't show much in 2 starts on the dirt. Now tries turf for the first time. It's got elusive quality on the dam side, and that can be pretty darn good turf miling. At one point, elusive quality was the world record holder at a turf mile. So, Spying could fit into this mix as well. 12, 7, 5, 6, and I think the 14 for sure if drawing into the race. This is a spread race to wrap things up in the pick six. So where might your singles in the pick six come from? River Ridge right off the bat, one that maybe that you could be looking at. You could be looking at something like a Steadfast Resolve, me and Molly McGee. Ancient World, if you're more in that camp than I am. But, this isn't a sequence where there's just that easy 2 to 5, 3 to 5. Remember the last time we had the pick six carryover, it was just a touch. It was like 2 to 5 in the allowance race. I think it was Saturday right before Easter. And, you're trying to play the pick six. And you're like, if this horse gets beat, it's going to pay, buku bucks because this is the one everybody's going to be singling. I don't think there's that kind of horse on this program in the pick six sequence. Maybe Ancient World will get bet that way, but I don't think so. I think 6 to 5 is probably about where that horse will be, and I think that's an underlay in terms of actual value. So no standout singles in the pick six as we take a look at the $25,000 carryover. Remember, if nothing gets hit in the pick six tomorrow, that'll be a mandatory payout on Friday for closing day. Everything must go at the end of the meet, so that'll be interesting. Potentially a 2-day carryover if things don't shake out just right on Thursday. There's a shot looking at the field sizes, a potential couple upsets, a lack of major favorites. Maybe we can get a 2-day carryover in the pick six, but hopefully you and I will be the ones who hit it tomorrow, and we don't have to worry about the 2-day carryover for Friday. Speaking of tomorrow, I'll be back at 8:30 Eastern for the final season finale edition of the Keeneland Look Ahead podcast. 8:30 Eastern tomorrow night. We'll preview that card for Friday as we wrap up the meet. I believe it's the Dowager Stakes on Friday as the feature race on a 10-race card. So we'll have all the handicapping information for you tomorrow night. Tomorrow morning, I'll update all my selections and send them out via Substack. Be sure to sign up for Substack. JeremyPlonk.substack.com. It's a free publishing service. Each day I update my picks, give you my final thoughts before the card. It comes to your email inbox after scratches are announced. So somewhere usually in the 11 o'clock hour before noon, we get that out Substack in the mornings. I also have updated information on my Countdown to the Crown series, which is the scouting report for all the Triple Crown races and horses. You get that for free, and handicapping information for tracks around the country as well once Keeneland is finished. So be sure to follow along my Substack, jeremyplonk.substack.com. That's going to wrap it up for tonight. Day 14 tomorrow. First post 1 o'clock. Join Scott and Gabby at 11:30 a.m. Eastern for Today at Keeneland. Have a great night, everybody.